This is what happens when you ruin a photograph. You let too much light hit your sensor, the data overflows, and your highlights are permanently blown out. But if you don't let enough light in, you get a dark, muddy mess. If you are constantly guessing your camera settings, hoping the image looks okay on the back of your screen, you are doing it the hard way. Today, we are going to use a simple bucket of water to completely master exposure. Once you see it this way, you will never look at shutter speed, aperture, and ISO the same way again. The key to great photography is proper exposure, which is ultimately the proper quantity of light collected by your camera. It is difficult for us to imagine quantities of light, so we are going to use a water analogy today to explain exposure. Think of it this way. A downpour of rain is like a bright, sunny day. A gentle rain is like a cloudy day, and a drizzle is like nighttime or some other dark setting. If we think of these glass containers filling with water, it is exactly like our camera collecting the proper amount of light. The size of the opening is the aperture, and how long we leave it in the rain is the shutter speed. Every time you take a photo, your goal is to fill your bucket to the exact right level, not overflowing and not empty. That perfect level is a perfectly exposed image. To fill it, you control two valves. The first is your aperture, how wide your bucket is. A wide bowl catches a lot of water very quickly. A skinny vase takes much longer to fill. The second valve is your shutter speed, how long you leave the bucket out in the rain. If you use a wide aperture, the bowl, you only need to leave it out for a fraction of a second. If you use a narrow aperture, the cordial glass, you have to leave it out much longer to get the exact same amount of water. Here is where most photographers get stuck, the trade-off. You don't just want a full bucket. You want to control how it gets filled because that changes the look of your photo. Let's say you are shooting a landscape. You need maximum depth of field, so you choose a narrow aperture, or skinny cordial glass. Because it's skinny, water enters very slowly. If you don't leave it out long enough, meaning a slow shutter speed, your bucket stays empty and your shadows turn completely black. But what if you are shooting a moving subject? You can't leave the bucket out for a long time, or the subject blurs. You need a fast shutter speed. To still fill the bucket in that short amount of time, you must swap to the wide bowl, a wide open aperture. So, what happens when you are in a dark room? There isn't enough rain falling to fill any bucket, no matter how wide it is or how long you leave it out. This is where ISO comes in. ISO doesn't add more water. ISO is like putting a false bottom in your bucket. By making the bucket hold less volume, it fills up much faster with whatever little light is available. But there is a catch. The bigger the false bottom you put in, the higher your ISO, the less actual water or image data you are collecting. That missing data is what we call digital noise or grain. You get the exposure, but you sacrifice the quality. The next time you are out shooting, ask yourself, what is my priority? Do I need a fast shutter speed to freeze action, or a narrow aperture for depth of field? Pick your container first, and then adjust the time you leave it out in the rain. If you want to see exactly how this translates into the camera's computer, click the video on your screen right now where we break down the histogram, the tool that tells you exactly how full your bucket really is. Keep shooting, and I'll see you in the next one.